Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. We have a really special one today, a comic that I have been wanting to cover since I started the show. Iron Fist 14, originally published in 1977 by Marvel Comics, reprinted here in a Marvel Milestone edition in 1992. This is vintage Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Dan Green goodness. Obviously, Iron Fist only went 15 issues, so this is the penultimate issue. And it's funny that this is a Marvel Milestone edition. This is what we had before the True Believer $1 reprints came out a few years ago, and before the current crop of facsimile editions. This is what we had back in the 90s for single issue reprints. And it's funny, and folks can correct me in the comments if this is not true. I don't think that this issue has ever been reprinted as a single issue since this. We had an entire title that was dedicated in the mid-90s to Sabertooth reprints. Some of them marginal at best. This is actually the best example, X-Men 213, Sabertooth Classic number 10. You would have thought that in Sabertooth Classic, they would have led off with Sabertooth Classic number 1 with Iron Fist 14. They did not. I have a speculative reason why. I don't think that at that time, Marvel, or at least someone in Marvel's editorial staff, wanted to pay John Byrne royalties for the reprinting of Iron Fist 14. So they just skipped it and started with Power Man and Iron Fist number 66 as the first reprint in the Sabertooth Classic run, which went a total, I believe, of 15 issues. So that is my rank speculation. I don't know. I have no corroborating interview or other evidence. I can't think of any other reason why in a title called Sabertooth Classic you wouldn't have reprinted Iron Fist 14. It's just so strange. But this reprint title, its 15-issue run, I consider to be incomplete without Iron Fist 14. Because, of course, this is the first appearance of Sabertooth. One of the, I would say, in terms of his powers and abilities and his impact in the Marvel Universe, his first appearance has taken on a value way out of proportion with actually the value of the character itself. I love him. I think he's a cool, lesser, like second, third tier villain. But it's really his mysterious relationship to Wolverine that was later explored in depth in many different titles and stories, and in the X-Men animated series as well, that made him the sensation that he was, and it has now skyrocketed the value of Iron Fist 14 to the point where it's difficult to afford even a beat copy. I had a coverless copy as a kid, then I later got a regular copy of it, which went away with one of my comic purges years ago. Of course, I regret it, but getting this back from an eBay auction for about $10 really was great. And so when it came in the mail yesterday, I decided, man, I've got to do this one now. I was really excited, so we're going to do it. We're going to dive in and take a little read through and discussion of Iron Fist 14. Our title is Snowfire, and our creative crew is Chris Claremont, author, John Byrne, artist, Dan Green, inker, Annette Kowicki, letterer, Janice Cohen, colorist, and Archie Goodwin, editor. And again, as a proto-facsimile edition, a Marvel Milestone edition, we get all the ads, which is great. And we're going to get the letters page, which is also great. So very exciting here. Of course, the ads have this at the bottom, facsimile advertisement no longer valid. So do not send away for your 7-foot-tall monster toy. So we start out in this story and media race here, and we're gonna use, Claremont's gonna brilliantly use some flashbacks to fill us in, but we get thrust right into the action here. The Canadian Rockies west of Calgary, gunshots, loud staccato explosions shattering the silence of the midwinter night, and then a scream, "Iron Fist, I'm hit!" So here we have Iron Fist and Colleen Wing, the lady samurai, part of Nightwing Restorations with Misty Knight, Iron Fist's love interest. They're being stalked by these assassins in bodysuits with auto pistols. They're left for dead because a blizzard is coming in, and these two don't want to get trapped, so they leave them, maybe recover their bodies later. And of course, Iron Fist and Misty were playing possum. They've gone, Colleen. How are you feeling? That bullet creased my skull. No more than a flesh wound, but I feel groggy. So Colleen eventually succumbs to her injury, and Iron Fist realizes that he is going to have to carry her to a nearby shelter before the blizzard fully hits them. And as he's carrying her, we get a reverie, which is our flashback to New York City, where Iron Fist is going to be confronted by a very deadly foe who will be revealed in a later story, whose fighting style is similar to him. Yes, it's Steel Serpent, also a denizen of Kunlun, and here we can see the two in this mysterious flashback battling for a brief moment. Excellent, Iron Fist. You're all I hoped for and more. What do you mean? Who are you? Who am I, Daniel Rand-Kai? I am your executioner. I was so weak then I could barely stand. I was his for the taking, and he knew it. Yet he only laughed and walked away. He knew of Kunlun, knew my true family name, Rand-Kai, and on his chest a wingless dragon brand. Of course, he's revealing pretty much everything that we're going to learn about this character. He is Steel Serpent. He is from Kunlun. He did once try to get the power of Shao Lao that Iron Fist possesses now. But that will be, as I said, for another story. Iron Fist using his kung fu to break into this weather station where they can take shelter, but it's not heated, so they have to go into a Zen-like trance that's facilitated by the fact that some issues earlier in Iron Fist number 6, they established a bond. But I have, and since our mind meld, all my memories, part of my soul, have been part of you, as yours are part of me. Tap those memories, Colleen. It'll be hard, sure, but you can do it. So they go into a Zen trance to survive. And I can't help but stop and comment on one of these ads. Make money customizing car vans, cycles, inside and out. So this is, I can't think of a more 70s comic book ad than this one. With a panel van on the side, and you can get in on the panel van painting business by sending away for this kit. And it's pretty awesome. Lots of great ads in this. It's one of the joys of having a facsimile-like reproduction like this Marvel Milestone edition. And it makes me want to dive in and find all of the Marvel Milestone editions that were published. It is on a slicker paper, and you can see it'll be a little reflective in the camera, but it's nice, and it's definitely, the colors look really good on it. So Iron Fist Dan Rand travels to Calgary to help Colleen. She calls him because she needs his help on a security job she's on for a highfalutin attorney, Jaren Hogarth. It was a half-hour flight to Hogarth's chalet. The helicopter moved deep into the Rockies, past Banff and the Clearwater River. And the flight passed mostly in silence until, welcome to the Eyrie, Danny. If Jaren has a home, this is, what? Freeze, frail. Out of the chopper, kids. Nice and slow. I can't think of a more telltale Claremont piece of dialogue than frail. It's just, that and Bub, which we're going to see in a few pages, are definitely Claremont marks for sure. And here we have the dramatic debut of Sabertooth. Greetings, Miss Wing, Mr. Rand. We've been expecting you. Sabertooth! You know me? Only by reputation. You're a freebooter, a modern-day pirate. For the right price, you'll rip off anything. Quite true. In this case, I'm after lawyer Hogarth, who stuck his nose where it doesn't belong and made my employer very angry. Don't you make me angry, little lady. I may scratch your eyes out. Take 'em away, lock 'em up. The pickup plane will be here at first light. We'll be leaving then and taking these two and Hogarth with us. So I love the original Sabertooth costume. It is so 70s. It almost, I mean, Byrne is a good costume designer, but this almost feels like a Dave Cockrum costume design. I don't know if Byrne was working from a Cockrum design or if this is his own devising. It's really cool though, and Sabertooth has had a few good costumes over the years, but the original for me is my favorite. Oh, these house ads are so cool for these. They're not really house ads. These folks have licensed Marvel Images to do products. Of course, these classic T-shirts and the Spider-Man and other hero gliders. Man, these would be great to get. So cool. So, Iron Fist and Colleen Wing are underestimated, of course, and they try to engineer a quick escape. Going my way, bub. Sabertooth. I'm surprised, Buster. I was expecting trouble from Miss Wing, but not you. Oof. Down, Denny, under his claws. Now up and deck him before he can recover. So a couple quick shots to Sabertooth knock him out of commission for now. You'd been luckier than you deserve. By the time an alert was sounded, you were on your way. After them. I want him brought back, dead or alive. Unfortunately, your borrowed snowcat had a nearly empty gas tank. And of course, that would take us to this point here as they've left the snowcat behind or being pursued by those guards. Now, after the blizzard, 2 other guards show up. There's the weather shack. I don't believe it. The tracking sensors say they made it this far, on foot, in a Force 8 blizzard. Good for them, but with the wind chill factor, the temperature hit 80 below zero. No way they could have survived that. Sabertooth said to bring them back, alive or dead, and that's what we're going to do. You saw what he did to Sid and Joe for coming back empty-handed. You want that to happen to you? But she never gets a chance to answer. Shakaw! Some minutes later, Lord, this fits like a second skin, but it feels so marvelously warm. You know, pal, I never thought I'd thank you for that mind meld, but Colleen, why are these people after Jaren? Well, in a nutshell, someone's been systematically leeching Rand Meacham of money. A lot of it. Jaren was trying to find the man responsible. So they're going to go and try to exact the same plan that they did before, which is free Jaren's other bodyguards. This guy, Jaren Hogarth, has a cadre of beautiful female bodyguards. So, in almost James Bond style. They're going to try to free them and deal with Sabertooth and free Hogarth as well. So here they get back to the base. And Misty's going to go free the ladies, and Iron Fist in disguise here is going to try to deal with Sabertooth. I'll go for the big man himself. Why so depressed, sport? In a few hours, you'll have the answers to all your questions. You'll know who's been ripping off Rand Meacham. You'll be happy when I kill you. You're a monster, Sabertooth. Ain't it the truth, bub? Hey, that dude looks right, but my instincts, my senses, read him as wrong, as an enemy. Before Sabertooth can act on his suspicions, though, gunfire from outside. Hogarth's women have broken free. They're attacking my men, and they're led by Colleen Wing. You're wearing Garrett's uniform, but you're not him. You and the Wing Broad came in as ringers. And you're a superhero to boot. Slack. Bub, this is the biggest mistake you ever made, because Sabertooth never loses. You got a name, hero man? I always like to know who it is I'm killing. The name is Iron Fist, and as far as losing goes, bub, there's a first time for everything. Gods, he's as fast as I am, and those claws are razor sharp. He's like a human saber-toothed tiger, the ultimate killing machine. Claremont's dialogue is so overwrought, but I do love it. This is earlier on anyway in his career, before this stuff became trite, and it's a lot of fun. Nice move, hero. I'm in the mood for a good fight. It's been a long time since I tangled with anyone worth the effort. It's an honor I could do without. Watch it. He almost got me that time. My reactions are too slow. Can't help it, though. Strain of that ambush in New York, spending last night in the blizzard, is beginning to tell. So, I like here where we see a good action sequence in these 4 long panels. In this second to last panel here, Sabertooth just showing his strength here, just shrugging this multi-100-pound desk aside with no problem. In the official handbook of the Marvel Universe at this time, Sabertooth he has low-level superhuman strength. He can lift press like 900 pounds. So that was a fitting display of strength there. And here we have a great couple of house ads for Foom and for Godzilla #1. Very cool. Love these. Would love to see, again, renew my call for a collection of Marvel house ads. And then the Iron Fistfuls letter page for this issue, where they announce the sad news that the title is canceled. Per personal note from Chris Claremont, subtitled, "A few words on a subject I wish I'd never had to talk about. I'll tell it to you as it was told to me, bluntly and with no frills. You're holding in your hands the next to last issue of Iron Fist. With IF-15, the Kunlun kid goes down the road to limbo, following in the footsteps of a lot of fine books and characters." So at this point, they haven't yet figured out that they're going to team him up with Power Man in his own flagging book. And that was a great idea because those two go on to have a long series that goes into the 120s. So a good number of extra years and some fun stories. The other stuff that they had done ahead of time, because you always work ahead in comics, that stuff I think is the stuff that winds up in Marvel Team Up, and that's where the Steel Serpent storyline gets resumed with Spider-Man and Iron Fist, and then Spider-Man and the Daughters of the Dragon, and that is also Claremont Byrne and vintage stuff. So we have a great subscription ad here. Love this. Back to our action. Colleen Wing and Anne and the other members of Hogarth's Freed security team cause a massive explosion which breaks that large window that was in the room where Iron Fist and Sabertooth were battling. And Iron Fist goes to protect Hogarth from the shards, and Sabertooth takes a powder. What's he up to? His helicopter's gone, so there's no way he can escape. And from the sounds of things, Colleen and her people are clobbering his mercenaries. He's heading for the rear of the building, but there's nothing there except miles of empty glacier. Colleen and I checked it out as we drove in. There he is, running across the snow with no real cover for miles. Who knows, maybe this will be an easy fight after all. You move out of the shadows, confident of victory, perhaps a little too confident. But then, you're in the open, and it's too late for second thoughts. Sunrise, light, blinding, unendurable, reflecting off mile after mile of gleaming snow. The glacier instantly transformed into a giant mirror, and you've just been suckered right into the middle of it. My eyes, what's happening? Heart of the dragon, my eyes, I can't see. Brilliant John Byrne storytelling combined with a classic John Byrne shortcut here. We have this open panel with just one figure and the two word balloons. Not a lot of work required to do that, but also brilliantly showing Iron Fist's malady here, his temporary snow blindness. Which is exactly what I had in mind, fool, when I lured you out here. You're snowblind, hero. Your optic nerves overloaded by the glare. It's only temporary, but you won't live to recover. Great panel here of Sabertooth coming in and slashing Iron Fist. And then we get an awesome 2-page fight sequence here. Iron Fist now blinded, but Sabertooth reckless. Pain, have to concentrate, blanket out of my mind. Something wrong, bub? Have to hit back, but how? This is insane. Sabertooth is all power and speed. He has no combat technique. If only I had my eyes, this fight would be no contest. As it is, I can only try. Missed. Care to try again, little man? I'm only a few feet away. Here, Iron Fist goes to summon his eponymous power, but he realizes if he does and he misses, he'll be out of juice. So he relents. Feel so woozy as is. Using my Iron Fist will leave me weak as a baby and as helpless. I daren't risk it. The thoughts only take a few seconds to run their course, but that's all the time Sabertooth needs. Dive, Danny. He's attacking my hip. So then here, in just a few seconds, Iron Fist has another memory, which again, he often had these through the series, and it was very reminiscent of Kung Fu, the TV series with David Carradine, where he would remember a training sequence that would relate to what's happening in the current timeline. Cool stuff. A great story gimmick, and it works every time. Okay, I'm blind. My senses will have to take up the slack. Have to relax, concentrate. Sabertooth's nearby, but where? Flow with the action, young dragon. Be one with it. Where you were apart, as you were taught. Again, the thoughts take only a few seconds, but this time it is Iron Fist who reacts first. Ki! Swak! Good kick to the midsection there. Great Hostess ad with Madame Web, the original Madame Web. And here, our action continues. Stay in contact as you pivot. Set him up for a hip throw, and over he goes. Hey! I'm making him mad. He's up and charging. I can hear him move, smell him, feel the shifting air currents as he closes in, which makes it a simple matter for me to step out of the way and, oh yes, happy landing, lummox. Thwomp. Easy, warrior. Don't get overconfident. You're hurting him, but he's still incredibly dangerous. No more games, little man. I'm gonna cut you to pieces. He's not thinking this fight at all. He's fighting from moment to moment, trying to overwhelm me by sheer physical force. Like the saber-toothed tiger, he can't comprehend anyone being his equal. I guess his martial arts also give him telepathy as well, as he can clearly state all of Sabertooth's beliefs, desires, and intentions, even those that are unstated. And when power isn't enough, he has nothing left to fall back on. Wrong, Sabertooth. You're cutting no one because this fight's over and you're finished. So, Iron Fist, still unsure, but remember, he's blind, that he's won or not because Sabertooth isn't moving anymore. Almost takes out Colleen, but luckily she's warrior enough to get out of the way. I'm sorry, Colleen. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm blind. Oh, Danny, It's okay, really. It's only temporary. But what about Sabertooth? His men? The men are under guard. Their boss is out cold. Thank the gods for that. I was lucky, you know. If he'd had martial arts skills, the equal of his speed and power, I doubt I could have beaten him, even with my eyes. Kind of makes you wonder about things, life even. Nothing wrong with that, pal. Just means you're growing up. Come on, let's get you inside before you catch pneumonia. Next issue, in 60 days, enter the X-Men. I had forgotten when I was reading this that this was a bi-monthly title, which made sense because Byrne was doing so much at that time that one other title, I mean, even as fast as he was, he needed this to be bi-monthly. But what a great story. It's vintage Byrne Claremont. Not really Byrne yet at the peak of his powers, but I've always liked Dan Green inks on Byrne pencils. And you can see all the seeds of Byrne's genius here. It's really good. And Sabertooth is a fun villain. And he would return to plague Iron Fist and Power Man many times. He has 3 subsequent appearances in Power Man and Iron Fist. Issue 66, which I mentioned, issue 78, and issue 84. And all of those issues as back issues, as single back issues, are incredibly expensive now by virtue of his appearance in them. And those were the issues where he was teamed up with the Constrictor. They were a duo for a while, which was kind of neat, a neat pairing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. That was a fun read through of Iron Fist 14. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.